Equatorial Guinea has announced the appointment of Esteban Becker as head coach. The Argentine had been in charge of the country's women's team before succeeding Andoni Goicoechea, whose contract was terminated last week. And with only 11 more days to go before Equatorial Guinea get the 2015 AFCON tournament underway against Congo, Becker will have to name his final 23-man squad. We're now joined by Durosimi Thomas, who's in Addis Ababa, to get more on the story. Durosimi, so the African Cup of Nations hosts have appointed Esteban Becker as a new coach. What's your reaction to this news?
I think Equatorial Guinea, what they've done is basically settle for the guy they know. Becker has been in the country for a couple of years now, about going to 4 years. He knows the players because he's been in the country, but his background really is his attachment with the women's football team. They won the African Championship back in 2012. So they're counting on that to rely on him for the Cup of Nations. He's currently in Portugal with the team, where the former coach Andoni Goicoechea was supposed to be with the team, but his contract was not renewed, and there was seemingly a fallout to renew it ahead of the tournament. So he's coming as well from a not illustrious coaching background, but what I think has weighed in for him, beating other candidates, because the name Stephen Keshi came up a lot, was the command of the language itself, because, you know, a lot of communication will be needed for communication with the players. It's a Spanish-speaking country. Keshi is from Anglophone Nigeria. So I think that's weighed all in Esteban's advantage.
OK, well, you mentioned there that the Argentine had been coach of the Equatorial Guinea's women's team. Now, do you think he can transfer his coaching style to the men's game, or do you see that he'll have to make changes?
Equatorial Guinea have shown a lot of improvements, and I think the knowledge and he being part of that development over the years means that there are not necessarily going to be a lot of changes in terms of players. The players are scattered around. Some are in, very low leagues, but we now know that some play in South America. We have a couple in Mexico. They're not really playing in big European leagues, but the fact that some of them as well play locally in Equatorial Guinea itself, this gives the team a lot of advantage. Haven't just played as well what is called the Central African Championship, the CEMAC Cup. So they've seen their weaknesses, and they're going to, I'm sure, correct that. So it's kind of like a busy moment for the team. They don't really need to rush. It's not like the tournament itself, which has to be pulled from Morocco and to Equatorial Guinea, and the preparation to infrastructure has to be rushed. This is a team that has been together, and I think there are not going to be too many changes.
OK, well, given all that, Becker has just 11 days before the opening game against Congo. Now, what do you think he can realistically achieve in that time?
Again, because he knows the system, the players, I think it's possible that he's going to really do well. The team, they're capable of causing upsets. They're capable of causing surprises. They also have Gabon in that group. So I think it's not really going to be a major factor. I think what would have been to their disadvantage would have been to go for somebody new who doesn't know the system, who doesn't know what the players are used to already. So the fact that they've stuck to him, I think, is really a good call-up. And also they have a new federation now, who they've been looking at this all in the background. Durosimi was just elected as the new head of the Ferry Foot. So they understand that they must go to that way, because the opening game is just 11 days, as you stated. And Equatorial Guinea are really, a side to reckon with in African football these days.
OK, Durosimi Thomas, thank you very much for talking to Sports News Africa.